Well, there we are. Good afternoon, friends. Evening, morning, wherever you are. Welcome to Live from Kahuna Lair. Apparently some folks have been enjoying the music. That's totally cool. We had the sailor's hornpipe there, and apparently people are cleaning their bathrooms while doing the jig. So, you know, good to know that I'm inspiring cleaning or something like that. Anyway, welcome to the show. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to start a poll here. If you are a World Anvilite and you are doing the streams, which is what we're going to be talking about mainly today, the prompts for SummerCamp. If you are doing them, we're going to take a quick poll and see exactly what it is that you've gotten done, what you've been able to achieve. I'm hoping that's, you know, a good news for those, or not necessarily great news for some. But we're starting up the poll, and all you got to do is use in the chat comments, use the exclamation point vote, and then either put B, S, G, or D to vote. And what those stand for is B is if you're going for the bronze badge, which is 10 prompts, S for silver, which is 20, G is gold for 30 prompts, and D for diamond if you're going to complete all 33 prompts, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge because even if you've written the other 30, you're only going to have a couple days to get the other 3 done because it's going to go fairly fast. So if you're there, you know, let me know, but go ahead and occasionally just drop in, put your poll choice in there, and we'll go from there. What we're going to talk about today is going to be the SummerCamp prompts. They were just released on World Anvil, and I gotta say, I like them. I like them because they're going to move my world forward, and hopefully they're going to move your world forward as well. They are designed to get you thinking. They are designed to expand things. So all you got to do is give it a shot. They're not long prompts. As I've mentioned before, these prompts are 300 words. 300 words is really, really quick. If you want to think of it in terms of tweets, because, you know, we can. A tweet is, you know, anywhere from 160 to 280 characters, let's say, or 140 to 280. If you use the long tweets, but let's use a short tweet, 140 characters. 140 characters is going to be roughly about 25 words, right in that neighborhood, maybe a little more. So you're looking at the equivalent of about 12 tweets. If you can tweet 12 times a day, you can write a prompt. And frankly, I think the prompts are easier because you don't have to keep yourself to that short amount there and then, you know, use the funky abbreviated spellings that everybody likes to use. So, I'm going to give it a couple more minutes here to see who else comes up on the stream and see who else might be joining. The great thing about these prompts is Demetrius and Janet at World Anvil really think about how these can fit together, and they don't tighten them up too much. A prompt can be very specific, but also be very wide. So it's a matter of your interpretation of the prompt. But again, try to be in the spirit and find the right prompts. So, you know what? Let's just go right into it. The first one is an item prompt, and this is prompt 11. We've covered the other prompts before. But prompt 11 is about an item, and it's supposed to be an item, common item, that is also used as a secret symbol. There are a lot of ways to look at this. it could be the rose in the lapel of, a secret agent or someone else who's trying to meet someone else. It could also be, the rose in the lapel is, I'm the one you're looking for in terms of your date at the party. It's a secret, only the two of you know, and it's a common item. It could be a ring. For example, there are lots of organizations today who wear a specific ring to kind of say to each other, hey, I'm one of you. That's what this is. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. But it could be something very exotic. But that doesn't really fit the prompt. What you want is something that is an everyday thing. Think hiding in plain sight. In other words, everybody's got one, but there's a specific version of one, or it's worn a certain way or presented a certain way that makes it the secret item. Let me see if I've got something here in my Kahuna Lair that I can pull up. Let's see. Okay, perhaps. Now this is a standard Sharpie. Okay. But what if your group used a specific color of Sharpie, and because they're kind of nerdy, they wear it a certain way in a pocket protector? Maybe it's clip out as opposed to clip in. They wear it clip out with the right color cap to signify they're part of this group. Something that it's an everyday item, but it's being used in a very different way to symbolize something. That's the first prompt. In my world, how I'm looking at using this is probably going to be something along the line of how thieves or smugglers or some other slightly nefarious entity will identify themselves. Kai says, no, it's a gnomish spear of death. That's a gnomish spear of death, and it's barely even, well, like this, it's not pointy at all. That's going to be one weak gnome. So in mine, it's probably going to be some type of signet. Maybe it's a specific shape of medallion on a necklace or worn as a badge. But something that looks fairly common. I've got to work on this one because the whole point is it being a common thing. And so I'm trying to figure out exactly what the best way for that to work is. So I'm not sure. But we'll figure it out. That's the whole point. In fact, if you have an idea for something, A, you can throw it in the chat. B, on my Tuesday stream, Kahuna Help! We'll be going over these prompts, looking at what I'm working on and what you're working on, and let's see if we can figure out ways to make this work. So that's the first prompt. Prompt number 12, the second prompt today, is a vehicle. A vehicle that brings joy whenever it arrives. Janet and Demetrius had a great set of examples. I want to riff on it a little bit and see what else we can come up with. But one example was an ice cream truck. Who doesn't want to see the ice cream truck? Kids run out with money in their hands for the ice cream truck. It brings joy. Somebody else mentioned like a circus train. It's a vehicle. People are happy to see the circus most of the time. Just leave the clowns alone. But again, it's a vehicle that brings happiness when it arrives. So that is something that we can definitely tie into. I'm trying to think how that fits in my world because we don't have a whole lot of vehicles. There's carts and wagons. So in a world with very little technology in it, in fact, no technology, because technology is banned and shunned. In a world with very little technology, what kind of vehicles? So I'm thinking it's going to have to be a cart or some other type of conveyance that brings joy. Now, I do have ships. In fact, we have a port city already created. So maybe it's a ship coming in. Maybe it's a specific ship that's coming in from somewhere that has goods that are not available to everyone. So when that ship comes in, they're really happy to see it. So that is another possibility. It could be the supply wagon from the port city to other cities. People are happy to see it because they've been waiting for supplies. It might be a cart that carries post or letters, other types of messages. Again, people will be happy to see that because they're hearing from someone they don't get to see very often. So all of these things are things that we can use to bring joy when it arrives. If you have a different kind of world, maybe it's maybe your vehicle is a spaceship. Maybe it's the supply ship coming in. Maybe it's a group of entertainers that come in on a bus. It's a vehicle that supplies joy, that creates joy when it arrives. So fairly simple prompt. And again, these are 300-word prompts. They don't have to be huge things. I'm a knucklehead, so I write huge things. I enjoy creating them. My dragon prompt right now, give me 1 second here to check, but I think I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of about I'm well over 2,000 words talking about dragons. They are the apex predator in my world, or one of the apex predators. So a lot to talk about. So prompt number 12 was a vehicle that brings joy when it arrives. The third one is a tradition prompt. And this one's interesting. And it will take a little bit more thought. How are birthdays celebrated? I mean, we know how we celebrate birthdays for the most part, but different cultures celebrate them in different ways. Some may not celebrate at all. Some may find that it's just, it's, you don't celebrate birthdays because it's rude, or it's a reminder of something, or whatever it is. Some may not celebrate. Some may celebrate grandly. Is the celebration of a birthday of a famous individual in your world? Is it the celebration of the birthday of a ruler? All of these things can be tied in, but how do they celebrate it? Is it a big party? Do they have a grand feast? Maybe it's the observance of the birthday of someone who was not so kind, someone who was much more, how shall we say it? Evil. And they commemorate that birthday by burning them in effigy. They're long gone now, but we want to remember the day that this came up so we never allow it to happen again. So again, it's a tradition about a birthday. And how does it celebrated in your world? In my world, I think we're going to be celebrating, well, I already have kind of a festival in mind, which is the festival that honors the individual who first went out into the world after the 30-year winter and led people out of the caves and out of their hiding places and into the world of light again. So his birthday is celebrated. There is already a festival for the day that he came out of the caves, but now let's celebrate his birthday. The 4th/14th prompt is a language prompt, a secret code or cipher in your world. Now here I've already kind of got a start on it. In my culture article that I wrote for the first 10 prompts, there is a group that the technologists, who use a code. And this code, nobody seems to know it. Or if they do, they aren't saying, because that means they're a technologist and they're pretty much either hated or even hunted. So only the technologists really know it. A few people have tried to crack it, but they can't quite get it yet. So but all I've showed was a sample. And so you can say, okay, well, I know the sample, and we even have a translation of the sample, but that's all you get. I have developed that language, and I have developed that code. No, I won't tell you how I did it, because, well, where's the fun in that? But I will develop it more fully and explain it and give some samples of it and see if people can figure out exactly how it works. It's a lot trickier than they will think it would be, because the symbols don't represent letters. The symbols represent sounds, and the sounds are not in English or any other, earth-based language. They are on a separate language. So you're going to have to go through 2 layers of decoding here to figure that one out. So that's going to be a fun one. Because the nice thing is, once I've more fully developed that code, as I will for this prompt, then I can start leaving little clues around in my world, little snippets that have this code, and allow people to try to figure it out. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. Now, keep in mind, one of the things Janet brought up on the World Anvil stream is that codes do not necessarily have to be written. For example, a code could be knots. You can actually tie knots in a certain pattern to symbolize things and use the knots on a piece of rope or a series of ropes to send a message. You can, a code can be something like Morse code, or it can be a visual pattern. Hieroglyphics technically are a form of code. It's a picture pattern that describes and depicts something else. And if it's secret, it means not that many people know about it. Something could have been common and is now secret because nobody uses it anymore. If you come up with a gibberish language between you and your friends, or people of the same tribe, that nobody outside of that understands, that's a secret. So it's something that is not commonly used, that the vast majority of people would not understand, that allows you to communicate clandestinely. That's my interpretation of a secret code. And that takes us to the 5th prompt, number 15 in the series, and that is a military unit. And it should be an elite or highly specialized military unit in your world. In my world, it is the Royal Corps of Orchelon, or the Royal Guard, I should say. The Royal Guard is the country's military force. But within that, there is a small group that are assigned specifically to the royal family. They guard the king, think of it as like the U.S. Secret Service. That's their job. Now, there have been very, very few threats against the kings of Orchelon for probably more than a century. Nothing very serious. Now, the worst is somebody trying to get over the castle wall and whose intentions were unknown. But this military group is much more highly trained. They are trained in a number of skills that are not typical of the other military. For example, they can ride horses at a higher skill level. They can ride in formation. They understand proper flanking techniques for a small group. They know how to close ranks around someone to protect that one individual, and they have sworn their life to protecting the royal family. Regular soldiers, they swear their life to the country, and that includes the royal family, but these individuals, it's just the royal family. They really don't care about the country itself. They care about these individuals. It's not in their purview to go over things for the entire country. So that's definitely something that we'd have to watch out for, and we can create. The sixth prompt is material. This one I liked a lot. A material that is sacred or culturally crucial. So you could say that the Shroud of Turin is made of a material that is sacred. You could say that certain woven patterns, especially for Native Americans, they are culturally important. They tell a tale. They identify the group that it came from. Any of these materials can be posed as culturally important. It could be as well sacred. It could be that, for example, the Shroud of Turin was said to be wrapped around Jesus Christ, and that's how it picked up the what is believed to be the pattern of his face. Would an item of a deity be used? It could. If it was something that was believed to be used by a deity, say it was a scarf or a coat worn by that deity. Now that makes it more of an item, but the material it's made out of would obviously, if it's a deity, it's a material that only that deity would likely be able to have. So that material itself is sacred. You would never try to re-dye it or to cut it or to do something else to it, because that is a sacred material. Keep in mind, material is not necessarily textile. Paper is material. Some stones are material. Many stones. Well, all stones are material, but some could be sacred. One that comes to mind, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The stones, the Shankara stones, they were made of a material that was considered sacred. So here you have a material, it's sacred. Now you've fulfilled that prompt. Heck, it might be plastic. It might be a metal. There might be a metal that is worshipped. It might have cultural significance. For example, marble. Immediately when you think of the material marble, you don't think of poverty. You don't think of just average. Marble is culturally accepted to be a higher level material. It shows a level of distinction, of a certain class level, of a certain wealth level. So having marble, real marble, takes to one level, and then you might have a different kind of marble, like travertine, whole nother level. You got travertine, whoa, that's another level beyond. So it has cultural significance because the travertine is a level above the marble. The marble is already considered higher up. So a material could be a stone, could be a textile, it could be a plastic, it could be a metal. I would generally consider materials something that can be worked into other things. You can work a textile, you can work a stone, you can work metal, you can work a plastic. Anything that can be worked into something else, I think, is a good start for a material that has some cultural or other significance. The seventh prompt, number 17 in the group, is a myth. This one I think is going to really be fun too. Describe a common old wives' tale or conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories are fairly easy to find and fairly easy to adopt. Just open a web browser. Talk about working something. You know, the great thing about this is, if you want to create a mystery in your world, this is the way to do it. Because if it's an old wives' tale, for example, it's a story that more than likely isn't true. But some people swear by it. And because they swear by it, there's a group who's going to believe it. And so the whole idea with the old wives' tale is, you want something that sounds just nuts, but that people will try because they want to try. They want a solution to something, or they want to scare something. A lot of old wives' tales are designed to be cautionary tales to keep kids, for example, from trying something. Well, there you go. Conspiracies are the other side of it. Conspiracy theories are quite often created because someone doesn't understand, doesn't want to understand, or can't explain something. And so they grab from here and they grab from there and they, pull this in and dig up something else. And they use those things and put them together and try to find a storyline that goes through them. And in doing so, they come up with this grand conspiracy that, people are out to get them, that it's a secret group that nobody has heard of but them, but they have heard that it's the truth, so on and so forth. And so what you're looking at is, people who, come up with all kinds of outlandish ideas of how something happens. How does this work in your world? Well, just because something's a conspiracy theory doesn't mean it's not true. So if you want to cast doubt, or if you want to create doubt, create some kind of question as to the truth of something, you make a conspiracy theory. There may be pieces to the conspiracy theory that are true. There's a line in the movie The Verdict. I think it was The Verdict. No, it was a different Paul Newman movie. I'm trying to think of the name of it now. Everything is factual, but nothing is the truth. In other words, you took this, that's a fact. You took this, that's a fact. And a fact here, and a fact here, and a fact here. And you strung them all together and created a story that has absolutely no basis in truth. It's a lot of facts, but it's not the truth. That is a great way to kind of dig your, hook your readers in. So they're trying to figure out what's real, what's not, and how things go. If you want a more recent example of a movie, look at Inception. The key to Inception, and people are still arguing about it, years after it was released, is at what point are they in the reality? And there are things about tops spinning and rings being worn and that kind of stuff. At what level is it the reality? Because you look at things and go, oh, well, that couldn't be real. Okay, well, if that's not real, then this isn't real. And so it's on and on and on. You find different things that are, fact but not truth. Great way to really kind of add some spice into your world and some intrigue. Next up, number 8, and again 18 in the series, a natural law. A devastating natural disaster that changes the world. This one's going to be a little trickier for me because I have a devastating disaster, but it wasn't natural. So I'm going to have to come up with something else, which is okay. Let's face it, there's plenty of opportunities for earthquakes, tsunamis, that kind of stuff happens. Hurricanes. So I'll come up with something on that one. But you want it to be something that really changes the direction of your world in some significant way. It could be, coastlines were wiped out by a tsunami, so all of those cities along the coastlines are gone, and now they'll either have to rebuild, or maybe it has washed away a lot of the land, and now literally the coastlines of countries have been completely altered. Perhaps it is a massive storm that has wiped out everything from villages to cities, and how do they rebuild and how do they recover? Earthquakes which lay waste to the land, a volcano that buries cities and regions in feet of lava, and how do you recover and how do you come back from that? All of those things. Kai is asking, would a plague work? Yes, a plague is a natural disaster, so a plague could work. Again, however, you want to make sure that the plague doesn't just kill off people. It needs to change the nature of the world. It has to be world changing for it to really sink in. So how could you do that with a plague? Perhaps it's a plague that goes not just through one species, so not just humans, but it infects animals. It infects creatures of other species. You've got orcs in your world, and the orcs get it too. Would that maybe cause humans and orcs to work together to try to eradicate this? Maybe. That's a significant change in your world, right? If you've got two species that are normally at each other and ready to kill each other, and they have to work together to solve it, now you've got yourself kind of a great story, right? It changed the world. It changed how they go. Crops. Crops in what sense would be my question. So natural disaster. Yeah. Okay. So you're thinking a natural disaster that destroys crops. Yeah. So, the foodstuffs for a world get wiped out by some disease that goes through the crops, or by a climate change that makes it impossible to grow the crops anymore. And now a massive population has no food. Does that change the world? Absolutely. Perfect example. Food, right? Crops into food. So they don't have any way to really feed themselves. What do? Their world has to change. They have to figure out how to feed. Do they now kill more animals? Do they have animals to kill? Because the animals aren't going to have food. What way do they have to adapt to this massive change in the way their world is because of this one event? That, I think, is really the spirit of this particular prompt. The 9th and 19th one is a geographic one. What the prompt is looking for is a description of an area in your world that is incredibly biodiverse. Where the variety of animal and plant life is so vast that it may not even have been fully explored yet. Think the Amazon, think the rainforests and jungles of Costa Rica. Something that is just very wide open. And again, what is the actual idea behind this? Is to give you another jumping off point. These are all creatures. What happens if you bring one of these creatures back to where your civilization is? Is that a good thing for the animal? Is it a good thing for you? What if you find a plant that can kill people? Again, is it a good thing to bring it back or not? The idea is to get you thinking, but it also gives you much more jumping off points. For example, let's say there's a plant that has tremendous healing powers if you brew it into a tea. Would that be of value? Could a trade in that type of plant, in the leaves or the growth of that type of plant? Could you trade that? Could someone go to an island, find these, harvest these, bring them back? If they harvest them, do they over-harvest them and now there's no longer gone, which again would make the price go up? Or are they successful in bringing it back and creating plantations to make this more widespread so that everybody has access to it? Those are the hooks you get from creating this very biodiverse area of your world. On mine, I have one island in mind that it would start with. But there is a section of my world that hasn't been seen yet, and probably won't be seen for a little while, but basically it's the other side of the planet. And since there's no real level of technology, unless they sail and happen upon this place, nobody knows it's there. There are rumors that something exists out there, but nobody's actually gone out and found it yet. So that could be a very biodiverse place, and it could be kind of a myth. Maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe it does. Nobody's seen it. Everybody says and believes that it's there, but nobody's been there. I can make that just almost a Garden of Eden type of location. And then we get to the last one, the 20th prompt in SummerCamp, and it's an organization. An organization so powerful, it's above the law. No one can hold these people to task. How do we do that? How do we bring people to task if they are above the law? That's going to be a fun one for me, because I think it's going to have to be a country that we haven't introduced in the world yet. Part of the storyline that I'm creating is that the world's 9 nations, the wife is above the law. Yeah, sometimes. Part of the framework of the world I'm creating is that about 1,200 years before the current time in the world, the 9 nations came to an agreement. And that agreement said, we're not going to war with each other. We'll trade with each other. If we have disagreements, we will come together and discuss them. But it's a 9-way truce. And they really have worked hard. There have been little skirmishes here and there, little conflicts, but very quickly they get resolved and everything goes back to normal. Doesn't mean everybody likes each other. There are some that truly hate each other. But they all sign an agreement, and if one goes against the other, then the rest are going to pick a side, and nobody wants that. So I have to figure out how that's going to work. And the only way I can really see it working is that in the same time period that the world is currently in one of the other nations, a group has come to power very recently. and it is becoming apparent that they are above the law. So that's going to be an interesting one to do, and I think I'm going to have some fun with that one. The summer camp prompts, again, if you're on World Anvil, try them out, have fun with them. I can show you. Let me see if I can pull up. Let me go into our screen share here. Let me see if I can pull up what I have gotten done here. Let's see. Let's go right down here. Check my progress. So the nice thing about this is you can go to the base page, and if you click on it, it shows you what you have submitted. One called the Hollow Chits. That was an item that is believed to be some kind of information storage device. I'll give you a hint. The name Hollow Chits sounds like something else. Very close in pronunciation. Especially if you're a Star Trek fan, but I didn't say that. The technologists are a group. They're also known as the heretics. They are the ones who believe technology is a good thing, and because of it, they're pretty much hunted by other groups and at the minimum ostracized. I've got 5 right here done. I've got a 6th one. The dragons are almost done. That's the Apex Predator prompt. You can see the Apex Predator prompt right. Wrong way. Over here. You can see it there. It's the one straight across there. Got to figure out how to use the fingers. Not there yet. The Apex Predator one is the dragons. Nothing on the planet eats dragons except other dragons. And frankly, most of them, nobody wants to hunt them either because they're really big and really strong and smart. I've got to write that. I've got to write about a condition in my world caused by a drug or medicine. Haven't quite got that one down yet. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that. A rank or title that represents order in your world, that is probably, it would be easy to do the king of Orshalon, but I've kind of already done it. So it's probably going to be something along the lines of the mayor of the port city or something along those lines. I need to write about a building that's being reused and repurposed from its original design. That is going to be down along the lines of the sewers beneath Orshalon City. What they were originally used for was sewers and what they're used for now. And kind of some of the myths around that as well. And then the last one I still need to work on is a commonly found document in my world, what's in it and what is it for. This is probably going to be some type of decree from the royal advisors authorizing either construction or trade, something that's used quite often, but that is also, important. It's something that's used all the time, but it has import in the world. That's something we really want to kind of focus on. The summer camp is fun. There'll be another 10 prompts in 10 days, so I got to get cracking on writing. If you are writing, you're working on the prompts, you don't know exactly where to go with them, go ahead and drop in on my stream on Tuesday. It's at 4 p.m. Pacific, which makes it 7 p.m. on the East Coast and 11 o'clock in London, 11 p.m. Drop on in. I may just be writing just myself, and we can talk about what I'm writing and how I'm getting to the different ideas. And I'm totally cool with using somebody else's, suggestions, because I don't pretend I've got all the answers. if you are interested in finding out more about these and you want to look at some more streams, one of the things you could do is go to the Anvilite Streamer Core page. And give me a second here, and I'm going to drop it into the chat. And there it is. And the Anvilite Streamer Core, it's a bunch of us who kind of gotten together to put together a calendar. Let me pull that calendar up for you here. You can take a look at it. And what you'll see in this calendar is 7 days a week, everybody from World Anvil who's streaming either writing or world building or artwork prompts or, you know, all kinds of stuff. It's a Google Calendar. There it is. I'll say here, I'm trying to scroll the video window. So you've got a Google Calendar. And all these slots, the slots that are open right now, those tend to be at about midnight to 8 a.m. So, you know, that's why nobody's there. The poll is closed, by the way, so we're going to take a look at what the results of the poll was. The poll was asking people, how many have you gotten done? Let's see if I can see. Let's see if anybody actually voted. That might be the more important thing. And let me pull this up here. But yeah, you can check out the Anvilite streams right here and see who's there. I'm here. I've been streaming here. We've got, you know, unfortunately at the moment we got 3 different people streaming. So they all went to one place or the other. But we've got eSongbird is coming up here in just about 12 minutes. So I will throw my stream over to her. You know, everybody here is affiliated on this calendar. It's affiliated with World Anvil. So if you've got questions about World Anvil itself, we should be able to answer them. If you've got questions about world building, we should be able to answer them. If you've got questions about, you know, the prompts, the SummerCamp prompts, come on in. Let's talk about it. But go and support these streamers, because most of us aren't doing this, you know, at least not yet, for tons of money. We aren't the gamers. We have to build our audience. And so we're hoping that by doing this, we can build each other's audience and be, you know, really have a great time with it. So let's see here. Let's go to the poll. Let's go to the polls. Let's see, polls. Awesome. We had exactly 0 votes. So nobody's done anything. That's what happens when 3 people stream at the same time. So we'll run that poll again next time and see how it's doing. Where next week, what I'm looking at doing next week is I'm probably going to go through some of the other folks who have submitted prompts and kind of look at them, and maybe that gives you some ideas for your writing, or just for stories. And you know, we'll kind of go through. I'm not going to critique them, okay? I've seen a few folks do that. Totally okay if they want to do the critique thing. My thing is, I'm not an expert in this. I know what I like. I know what I like to hear. I know what entertains me. So, you know, I'm not going to critique it. I want to share them, especially the ones that I really have enjoyed. So I'm going to, you know, find a few that are like, wow, I really like this one, and to tell you why I liked it. Sometimes it'll be because they're visually stunning. They just are pretty to look at. Some will be stories that, or articles that have stories in them that are just very, very well written. Maybe it's one that's humorous. Maybe it's one that's the whole package. So I'll be going through those and reading a few. I want to share, and I want other people to see what everybody else is doing. Right now, there are probably about, I would say there's probably at least 200 people, probably closer to 250, who are doing the prompts over and over again. They're just going through, grinding through and doing the prompts. That's a lot of reading, but it also means there's a lot of creativity out there. And I think people who are willing to work that hard and share it should get some eyeballs on it. I think that's a great thing. So that's kind of what we'll do next week. I mentioned the Kahuna Help stream on Tuesdays. The Kahuna Help stream, the idea there is very simple. I'm here to answer questions. Bring it on. If nobody's got any questions, I'll just be working on my stuff and answering questions about it and talking through it while I work, so that you can see how my process works. And then, if somebody asks a question, we'll jump onto that question and, we'll riff from there. And it's an hour of just, hey, ride along. Okay. Ride along, ask questions, and learn. And hopefully I'll learn from you too, because that's really the key, is that not only can you learn from me answering questions, but I can learn from answering your questions as well. And I can learn from your suggestions. So really, Kahuna Help is Kahuna helping you, and you helping the Kahuna. Pretty simple. If you are not on World Anvil, why not? You should be. World Anvil is, a great community with a lot of wonderful people, creative people who like to tell stories and like to build. If you are a game master, great place. You can actually run games from there. You can actually create campaigns where you can create locations with maps and the whole 9 yards and run it within World Anvil and share with your players only that which they need to see or that they can see. It's your choice. You share it with them. So, if you're not on World Anvil, get on there. It will be to your benefit to do so. Okay, the link didn't go. So let's try something else here. Let's try just. Oh, because I did the link wrong. There we go. There's World Anvil. There's a link to World Anvil. Get over there. It's free. There's no charge, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a way to stretch your creative muscles. If you are on Discord and you want to join me on Discord, then please go ahead and get on there. I do watch my channels, so sometimes if I'm indisposed, it may take a few minutes to get back there, especially if Mrs. Kahuna has called me to dinner. You don't miss Miss Kahuna dinner. But you want to join me on Discord, the link is right there. That link is an invite into the server, and you'll have access to the channels there and be able to chat with me and chat with others who've watched the show. Some other links if you want to see my world, the world of Arnathia. It is also available. What is Discord? Discord is a chat server. Well, it's a set of chat servers. It's a place where you can go. You can actually create your own chat channels. And actually, it's chat server. In other words, Kahuna the Elder has a chat server, and underneath it are channels. There's a channel that's just a general channel for, basic discussion. There's one that's specifically for after the show. So if you want to talk about stuff that we did in the show and then we ran out of time, you can go to the Kahuna after party. You can access it both through the web. Discord, it should be discord.com. Is it discord.com? Let us see. Discord. There's also an app. There's a Windows app, there's a phone app, and you can use those. A lot of folks, yeah, it's discord.com. A lot of folks use those, use the apps on their phone because, you know, conversations are always going on. World Anvil itself has a huge following on their Discord channels. You can get help in writing. You can get help with art. You can discuss things you'd like to see on World Anvil. You can get help with coding the graphics on the site. And the people there are truly amazing and helpful. I learned a lot, especially about coding, in the last 3-4 months. If I couldn't find the answer, I went on there and asked, and somebody had the answer. Of course, sometimes the answer was, it can't be done. But, you know, at least I had confirmation that, okay, I can't do that, so that's, you know, stop trying. So Discord is a great place. There's all kinds of channels. A lot of gamers use Discord. It's like a chat channel on Twitch, but it's all chat. There are some voice chats. I'm not a big fan of the voice chats because it's easier for me to read, and it's easier for me to scroll back if I missed something. So I do it that way. Let me also, real quick, put up one more time the link to the SummerCamp page so that anybody who missed it can see it. Let's see here. And there is the SummerCamp link. Check it out. And another cool thing is, even if you're not writing for SummerCamp, if you go to that page, you can actually see entries for each area. So you can go to the myth entry and see a list of all the people who have submitted for it and read those. I guarantee you will find something that you find entertaining, interesting. Maybe it's funny, maybe it's poignant. You'll find something that you like if you just kind of give it a little bit of time. And all the prompts are present there. So if someone has written for the prompt and submitted it, it's there. And trust me, you won't run out of reading material. There's plenty there. Getting close to the end here. I am going to be throwing this stream over to, on Twitch at least, I'll be throwing over to eSongbird. She's going to be, I'm sure, talking about the prompts, because that's pretty much anybody's going to be talking about for the next few days. If you really enjoyed my conversation, go and check out some of the other streamers. All different personalities, all different takes, and all different angles to look at things from. So some are looking at it from a purely writer point of view, some are looking at it from graphically, some are looking at it just, you know, for fun. By the way, let's see if this works. We threw it out there. So if you go on to that link I just posted, you will find exactly one item. It is a Kahuna the Elder mug. Okay. It is a coffee mug. And the fun part about it is, I don't know if I have one out at the moment. I don't. I should have it out, but I don't. It's a black mug. Completely black. Until you until you fill it with hot water, or, you know, anything hot. Let me show you what it looks like. Let me pull it up here real quick. All right, gotta do this quick. There we go. The Kahuna the Elder mug. Loading. Yes, that's my ugly mug on a mug. Kahuna the Elder's mug on a mug. Okay. Yeah, you know, it looks like it's not going to load fast enough. I should have done this ahead of time. That is my fault. Anyway, if you check out that link, you can find the Kahuna the Elder mug. When you put hot water in it, my face and the Kahuna the Elder logo goes across the top. It's just a fun mug. Buy it, don't. I may give some away in the future, but it's just a fun thing. I liked it. I wanted to have a little bit of merch to give away. If you like one, go ahead and buy one. I'm going to throw this over now to E Songbird. And again, if you've enjoyed the show, great. I will see you next week, I hope. Remember that Tuesday is Kahuna Help. And I appreciate you guys indulging me and being here. And hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you Tuesday for Kahuna Help. All right, the raid is starting. Have yourself a great day, folks. And I hope to see you again. Thanks for being here.